Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? The Empress and Jing smiled. Among the harem, if we talk about talent, Consort Zhen ranks first, as only she can converse so fluently with the sixth prince. If it were me, I truly would be at a loss for words. Feng Shui also smiled. Indeed, to tell the truth, I couldn't understand what the prince and sister Consort Zhen were discussing. Butterflies, Zhuangzi, fair ladies, I was completely confused. Xianling gently held my hand under the table, saying, "They were discussing Zhuangzi and the Book of Songs." I smiled warmly at him. "Your Majesty is wise." The Empress turned to a palace maid serving behind her and said, "The Emperor, the Prince, and Consort Zhen have been discussing for a long time and must be thirsty. Go and fill up Consort Zhen's prepared wine." Following the order, the palace maid stepped forward to pour the wine, which was clear and golden, served in a flawless jade cup. I first toasted Xianling, then the Empress, and finally Xianqing. Xianqing did not hurry to drink. He scrutinized the cup and lightly sniffed it before turning to the Empress. "It's osmanthus wine," said Xianling. "Consort Zhen and I picked the newly blossomed osmanthus flowers this autumn to brew this wine." Xianling speaking so intimately of me in public made me slightly uncomfortable, feeling the sharp glares from behind, so I explained gently, "The wine is made from river rice, with the petals of newly bloomed osmanthus flowers dried from dew and soaked in the wine, then a bit of honey is added. It's sweet and mild, not intoxicating." I said this to ease the awkwardness. The method is simple, and the wine does not harm the body. If the prince likes it, he can brew it himself. Consort Chao suddenly smiled charmingly and said, "Osmanthus wine is sweet and suitable for a family banquet, but with princes present, it would be better to serve with Matai, Huiquan, Daku, or Western regions grape wine for a richer flavor." Implicitly, she suggested that the wine I prepared was a slight to the princes and ladies, lacking the grandeur expected of the royal family. Some looked on with hidden scorn and disdain, waiting to see my embarrassment. But as usual, I responded with a calm and gentle smile. With the unrest in the southwest, the Empress Dowager and the Emperor have been frugal to provide for military needs. The harem should follow their example. Serving osmanthus wine made by the Emperor instead of expensive wines shows His Majesty's frugality and the royal family's close bond. Consort Chao smiled modestly. "Sister is considerate and thoughtful." I smiled brightly. "You flatter me, sister. If we speak of understanding and thoughtfulness, how could I compare to you?" Then I turned to the Princess of Runan. The prince has fought bravely on the battlefield, a pride of our great Zhou. I hope the osmanthus wine sent by the consorts has arrived." He bowed. "Thank you, Consort Zhen. The wine has arrived," and the prince shared it with his officers and men, boosting their morale greatly in gratitude to His Majesty and Consort Zhen. I said, "Thank you for your efforts, Princess. The wine does not intoxicate and may warm and relieve the soldiers' homesickness in the harsh frontier." He agreed. "Exactly." Suddenly Xianqing said, "To honor His Majesty's divine wisdom and the bravery of our soldiers, let us all drink this cup." He stood up, drank in one gulp, wiped his lips with his sleeve and loudly exclaimed, "Excellent wine!" With these words, the atmosphere relaxed and became harmonious again. Seizing the opportunity, I glanced at the Empress, who gracefully rose to her feet and raised her cup. "On behalf of the ladies of the harem, I toast to His Majesty for his long life and prosperity, and for the everlasting peace and happiness of our realm." Thus, the banquet became lively once again with joyful toasts. In the midst of the bustle, I sent a grateful glance towards Xianqing for such a timely intervention on my behalf. He merely responded with a light smile, continuing to drink his wine. Xianling whispered to me, "When did I command you to send wine to comfort the generals?" I turned to him with a smile. "Is it not allowed for me to share the Emperor's burdens, especially when he is so occupied with state affairs?" I paused slightly, my voice dropping to a whisper. "The morale of the army must be steadied by the Emperor, and the imperial grace should naturally come from him. There is no need to act through others." He maintained a calm demeanor outwardly, but the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curve into a pleased smile. Beneath the table, our fingers intertwined. It was as if a gentle April breeze swept through my heart, causing me to tremble slightly, my face flushed with a bashful smile. However, the situation was far from resolved. Consort Tian suddenly said. It's commendable that Consort Zhen advocates frugality. However, I've heard that sister has a pair of jade shoes, embroidered with shoe brocade and adorned with jewels, an epitome of luxury. I wonder if I might be fortunate enough to see them. Xianling gave her a glance and slowly said, I remember bestowing you with jewels which were also luxurious and valuable. Before the echo of his words faded, Chun'er, who had just finished her pastry, clapped her hands and said, That's because His Majesty favors Consort Zhen, so naturally, the more valuable and luxurious the better. If His Majesty likes it, what's the harm? Isn't that right, Your Majesty? Chun'er's innocence made her speak without a filter, and I was so anxious my complexion almost changed. Everyone was taken aback, but there couldn't be a stronger or better reason than this. Only Chun'er could say such a thing. No one else would dare. Xianling looked at Chun'er fondly. I like that you speak your mind. Naturally, Chun'er was pleased by his response. Consort Tian's face turned pale and red, at a loss for words. And yet, Chun'er pressed on. Don't you think so, Consort Tian? Consort Tian, given her presence before the emperor and Chun'er's higher status, could not afford to lose her temper and had to agree. What Lady Feng said is not wrong. I gave Chun'er a secretly reproachful look, signaling her to say no more, but she seemed unconcerned, simply flashing me a coquettish smile before burying her head back in her delicacies. I could only offer a wry smile. There was truly no handling Chun'er, especially with Xianling doting on her like this. But such disregard for caution could hardly benefit her. I shook my head in silence. Yet it seemed my advice never really reached Chun'er. With Xuanling's affection and my protection, she feared nothing and never thought to be afraid. After the family banquet, the concubines dispersed one after another. Xianling spent the night alone in the Yuan Hall, with the elaborate ritual of offering sacrifices to heaven and the ceremony of paying respects to the Empress Dowager awaiting him on the first day of the new month. In the deep, silent night, the continuous snow fell gently outside the warm pavilion. I curled up under the fragrant, thick brocade quilt, the soft breathing of Jinxi in her sleep faintly reaching my ears. The excessive quietness of the night, instead of calming, stirred restlessness in me. The pair of candles beneath the western window still shone brightly, where Xianling and I once sat together to trim the wicks and admire the stars. When shall we two cut candles at the western window again? I suddenly remembered it was Xianqing who spoke of the night rains over Beishan with me at the banquet. Yet, the western window is within reach, while Beishan lies far beyond 1,000 miles. I hold on to what is before me, not seeking what is distant. To forsake the near for the far I cannot do.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.